Hmm. Hmm. Hi. Okay, I think I finally got everything working. Am I coming through? Oh. Yes, I am. Okay, awesome. Well, hello. Welcome back, or welcome to A Regency Affair, where I vibe coded a game to pretend to talk to fake men from the early 1800s and have a dating sim / adventure sim. Thanks for coming back. As you can see, there are a couple of changes from the last time that you were here or that I came on here. We've added some fun animation to the home screen, made it look a bit more professional. There's some other fun functionality that I put into the chat, which I would be happy to show you in a moment. But we are continuing today with the story of Mary Blackwood, who is a young debutante in, I think, around 1814, who would like to get married to a man of substance, perhaps whose family comes from an estate, for whom she can borrow his last name to lend credence to her family's background, which is of trade. A little bit scandalous. So why don't we get on with it? Another functionality that I've added to the new game is there is now an art gallery. Well, here's a couple things. First of all, as you can see, a bit of the UI changed. We now have some cool aerial shots based on where we are. Right now we're in London. So this is an aerial shot of London. We have a story journal to help keep track of all of the different plot lines and people that we're meeting. So maybe as a means of some background for what had happened before. As you will remember, we met Mrs. Blackwood, who is my mother, who is very ambitious, would like to see me married, has a lot of plans. Mr. Edmund Davies, who was her first choice for a suitor when we first went to that ball. But then I ended up speaking to him about things that I guess she felt like were too deep or were not becoming of a young debutante. I think we spoke about some art on the wall or something, and she decided that we should move on to someone else. There's Miss Isabella Ridley, who I feel like has sort of been set up as a rival for me for Mr. Davies' attention, except I don't personally feel like she's a rival. I just feel like we're all, you know, trying to find our way in the world, and she's doing so as well. So nothing extremely rivalristic, I suppose, has happened so far. There's Lady Trowbridge, the hostess and an arbiter. Madame Dubois, who was a dressmaker. There is Lord Ashworth, who is the man who we are currently technically pursuing. Although he's titled and he has an estate, which is not as ideal for someone like me or like us, since we're looking for someone just sort of to be able to use their last name, and we don't necessarily need all of the extra responsibility or scrutiny that comes with an estate. Regardless, Lord Ashworth is much more of a simple man than Mr. Edmund Davies. He was a lot easier to talk to, and it seems like the prospects there are maybe a little better. Although we'll see how long we can last speaking to him of the types of conversation that he prefers. And then Mr. Hector Finch, who is the author of the London Spectator, which I believe is a newspaper, sort of like writing gossip related stuff. In the story journal, we also have our active plots. So the main one is securing a marriage proposal. We would like to gain acceptance within the town, since we're sort of hiding that our background is in trade or in production. They've put here the AI has put here rivalry with Miss Isabella Ridley, but I'm not sure. I feel like, I don't know. I don't really want to do the rivalry plot line. We'll see how that goes. And then lastly, we have this gossip columnist, Mr. Finch, who's sort of coming after us. Oops, some stuff is coming in undefined, and that's okay, because that's what happens when you make a game by yourself from scratch, and you don't really know how to code in the language that you've made the game in. But regardless, so we now have a story journal, which keeps track of what happens over time and the different people that we meet. We also have an art gallery, which right now just has a picture of, I suppose this is Mary Blackwood. But eventually, as we play through some other scenes, I'm going to test live to see if this button works, which will commission a painting and generate sort of a portrait of the scene that we're currently in theory, if it works out. All right, so let's see, where did we leave off? Let's see. We went to the Danvers Ball. Again, we met Edmund Davies. We met Edmund Davies. We liked him. But then we ended up speaking to Ashworth, who was a bit more simple. He said something like the air was very airy that day, which was funny, but I'm not sure if it was funny to us in the same way that it was funny to them, to him. Let's see, it looks like he came over. Let's see, we hung out. Let's see, we're still in the drawing room. Okay, let me read these last few lines. Or maybe I'll read the last thing that I said and then the last scene that came up. Okay. My mother said something like, everything we've built, everything we are, will pass through you and your husband. It will become his legacy, his children's legacy. Is it manipulation to ensure that fortune, your fortune, is placed into the hands of a man who will protect it, whose name will legitimize it, and whose simple nature will prevent him from squandering it on foolish ventures? Or is it the most fundamental duty a mother has? She turns from the mirror to face you directly. We are not tricking him, Mary. Oh, I remember this. I was like, I feel kind of bad taking advantage of this man who maybe does not have a full grasp of all of the machinations that are going on. We are guiding him towards a decision that will be of enormous benefit to him and will secure the future of this entire family. It is the foundation upon which your own children's lives will be built. And then I say I'm sort of uncomfortable with lying. Oh, there was another dimension too. My mother, I think, was like, and he'll probably have some debt, and then we, because we're rich, we can take care of that debt, and so it's a win-win. And I was kind of like, ooh, that feels weird. Like, taking advantage of someone's financial insecurity for our own gain. So I think she was kind of trying to calm me down for that as well. Let's see. Your mother sees the change in you. She sees the flicker of defiance and doubt extinguished, replaced by a steady, determined flame. It is not the eager compliance she might have wished for, but it is something far more valuable, resolve. She gives a single sharp nod, a gesture of profound and unsentimental approval. Good, she says. The word is not praise, it is confirmation. Oops. Let's get rid of that bar. Oh, never mind. That is the look of a daughter who understands her inheritance. She considers the conversation concluded, her strategic objective achieved. She moves to her small writing desk in the corner of the room, her purpose now shifting to the day's correspondence. The audience is over. You are left on the settee, the air still thick with the weight of dynasties and dowries. So that's where we left off. We are currently on board to continue to pursue Ashworth, even though I think we're still thinking about that conversation with Mr. Edward Davies that happened earlier. So we're going to move on to the next scene here, which is another cool little functionality that we have. Now we can tell the model when we're ready for the next scene to come. And as has been the case before, if you have a reaction to something or you have a suggestion for how we should act moving forward or in response to something, put it in the chat and I will read it out loud and maybe take you up on it. It looks like we're back in Hyde Park today. The morning air in Hyde Park is crisp, carrying the scent of damp grass and the faint dusty smell of the sandy track known as Rotten Row. At this hour, the Row is not merely a path for exercise. It is the spinal column of London society, a place to see, to be seen, and to be judged. You are mounted on a mare named Duchess, a chestnut creature selected from Lord Ashworth's stables. Oh, I'm on his horse. She is, as promised, exceptionally gentle. In fact, she is so placid that she seems to view forward motion as a polite suggestion rather than a requirement. You sit side saddle, your habit of dark green velvet arranged perfectly, holding the reins with a light practiced touch that Duchess entirely ignores. Beside you, Lord Ashworth looks the very picture of the sporting gentleman. He rides Persephone, a tall, skittish bay that dances sideways every few paces. He handles her with an easy, unconscious grace, his face flushed with health and good humor. She's a spirited one this morning, he calls out over the jingle of the bridle, patting Persephone's neck as she tosses her head. He glances at you and Duchess, beaming. I hope Duchess is treating you well. My groom swears she's the steadiest mount in the stable, perfect for a lady who prefers a contemplative pace. He says this without a trace of irony. To him, you are the delicate flower who requires a rocking horse while he wrestles with the beast. Around you, other riders tip their hats, gentlemen in high-collared coats, ladies in braided habits. Ahead, leaning casually against the railing near the Stanhope Gate, stands a familiar figure. Mr. Hector Finch is there, looking entirely out of place in his drab brown coat among the peacocks of the Ton. He is peeling an orange, his eyes scanning the riders with the predatory focus of a hawk. He spots you and Lord Ashworth. Immediately, he does not wave, but his gaze locks onto the pair of you, and you see him reach into his pocket, presumably for his notebook. Lord Ashworth follows your gaze, but sees only a man eating fruit. Odd fellow, he comments cheerfully. Bit early for lunch, wouldn't you say? Persephone prances again, eager to run. Duchess sighs, a heavy equine exhalation, and slows to a near halt to inspect a clump of grass. Shall we try a trot? Ashworth asks, looking at you with protective concern, or is this pace quite enough for you? You are a competent rider on a slug of a horse, being watched by the man who will decide your social fate, while your suitor treats you like fragile glass. How do you handle the horse, the suitor, and the audience? Well, we just told our mom that we would try with Ashworth, and I feel like even though Mary is, again, still sort of thinking about her moment with Edward Davies, I think she's going to continue to try her best with Ashworth, even though she's basically like on a merry-go-round right now, just like on a very slow horse doing nothing. Unless anyone else has any other suggestions. Let's see. I try not to let the boredom leak into my smile, nor the slight nervousness, thanks Sam, about Mr. Finch's gaze. Let's say I try for a flirty laugh, hoping Finch catches wind and decides we are worth I want him to notice us so that, like, you know, when other people start to notice that you're a couple, then you start to think about yourselves more as a couple more, and so it sort of like progresses the relationship, you know, like taking advantage of the gossip column. So something like we are noteworthy. I'll say that. Oh, is our mother even with us? Are we here without a chaperone? That would be crazy. No, I think she's probably here. The laugh ripples out, perhaps a shade louder and brighter than you might have intended, but in the open air of the park it sounds merely joyful. To an observer, specifically the one leaning against the railing, peeling an orange, it likely looks like the carefree response of a young woman thoroughly charmed by her companion. Lord Ashworth beams, taking your laughter as enthusiastic agreement to his suggestion of a slow pace. A wise choice, he declares. Oh yeah, I didn't actually... He's like, is this pace quite enough for you? And then I just laugh and don't answer. Which I guess is kind of a weird response, but he seemed to take it well. That's something nice about hanging out with someone who, you know, takes life as it comes. Let's see, he declares, reining in Persephone, who is currently dancing sideways in a circle, clearly offended by the lack of speed. No need to rattle the bones on a morning like this. We shall proceed at a dignified walk. He manages his skittish mare with an easy, muscular competence, bringing her back in line alongside your plodding Duchess. As he settles, he glances over you with a look of genuine admiration. I must say, Miss Blackwood, he observes, you sit a horse remarkably well. Most ladies look as though they are balancing on a tea tray, but you have a natural sort of balance. Even if Duchess is hardly a challenge, one can always tell a rider by their posture. Very regal. He puffs out his chest slightly, evidently pleased to have such a regal companion. Over by the railing, Mr. Finch has stopped peeling his orange. He produces a handkerchief, wipes his fingers with deliberate slowness, and then retrieves the notebook. He makes a note, looking from you to Ashworth and back again. He does not smile, but the intensity of his scrutiny suggests that he found exactly what he came for, the consolation prize narrative being rewritten in real time. What was that consolation prize narrative? Oh, I think it was that when we first went to the ball and we were kind of going after Davies, but then we ended up going for Ashworth. Then I think my mother was worried that people would see me as or see me in Ashworth's situation as the consolation prize for the situation that didn't work out, and that would reflect badly on me. I'm imagining Ashworth just circling you for this entire conversation while his horse tries to get away. It seems like even his horse is bored with him. Maybe I should get to know his horse. We're on the same page. Could be friends. Ashworth, oblivious to the journalist's scribbling, leans slightly closer to you, lowering his voice conspiratorially. I say, that fellow with the orange, he's looking right at us. Do you suppose he's an artist? Or perhaps he's admiring Persephone. She's the finest looking creature in the park, present company accepted, of course. Ooh. He winks at you, a clumsy but well-meaning bit of flirtation. He's like, you're prettier than a horse. I guess that's a compliment. I'm feeling a little antsy. How do people feel? I'm feeling a little antsy. I think I'm starting to imagine my life of like being on a slow horse, and I don't know if I like that. I don't know how many slow walks in the park I can go on where I'm noticing things and he's not noticing things, and I feel like I can't talk to him about it. You know what though? I feel like I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a chance. Maybe there's more depth to him than we are giving him credit for. I'll say something like, isn't that Mr. Finch of the... That's true. Well, some people are good at hiding their family debt. Especially the men in charge of estates. It is a skill that they learned very quickly from what I've learned playing this game. So Mr. Finch, the London Spectator. Okay. Isn't that Mr. Finch of the London Spectator? Perhaps he has found something worth noting. I'm thinking of my life and future and what it would mean for it to be full of many slow walks in the park where I am clearly as antsy as Persephone. But I decide, instead of writing him off... Did I spell Persephone wrong? I did. But I decide instead of writing him off to give him a chance to engage like I hope he would. I'll say, what do you suppose he's written? It's a little gossipy, but, you know, it's a type of engagement. We'll see. Do you think this man has hidden depths? Or we kind of will continue to get what we have? Lord Ashworth blinks, looking from the man to you with mild surprise. That fellow? He squints at the figure by the railing. The one attacking the orange? I suppose he does have the look of a scribbler about him, pinched-faced, ink-stained cuffs. Ooh, I don't know if I like that tone. He's like, that looks like someone who has done work before. Everyone does hide something. That's true. We're hiding something right now. My mother is planning on taking advantage of this man's financial insecurity. And I was, like, convinced by that. So we're certainly hiding our own secrets. He turns back to you, a playful glint in his eye. I confess, Miss Blackwood, I didn't take you for a devotee of the scandal sheets. I imagined your reading list was strictly poetry. And what was it? Treatises on landscape gardening? I think this is a callback to the painting that I was commenting on to Davies. I feel like it had something to do with landscapes. He chuckles at his own memory, pulling gently on the reins as Persephone tosses her head again. At your question of what Finch has written, Ashworth shrugs with the easy indifference of a man whose social position is set in stone. If he has any sense, he's written that Persephone is the finest mare in London. Okay, maybe he's kind of obsessed with his horse, and that her rider is doing a heroic job of keeping her from bolting for the Serpentine. He's just complimented him. No, it's a joke. Okay. It's a joke, but it's like a joke that's a self-compliment. Then his expression softens into something more sincere, or perhaps he is writing that the Blackwood Rose puts the park's flora to shame. That would be the honest report. That was very sweet. That was very sweet. Although, yes, a couple of red/yellow flags. Scary how much he likes the horse. And the fact that he spoke about someone with a job, like that was beneath his notice or was not, yeah. Let's see. He smiles, but he did, that was kind of a nice compliment. That was a little bit poetic. That shows a little bit of depth. He smiles, pleased with the compliment. By the railing, Mr. Finch seems to have sensed he is the topic of conversation. He snaps his notebook shut, pockets it, and offers a low, sweeping bow in your direction. It is a gesture that feels less like respect and more like the curtain call of a playwright acknowledging his actors. Ashworth misses the irony entirely. He nods back cheerfully. See? He knows quality when he sees it. But come, let us leave him to his fruit. Shall we ride toward the Serpentine? The water is lovely this time of morning. He gestures forward, inviting you to extend the ride and the performance. Okay, I'm gonna write down some of the reactions that we've already said. I don't love the way he talked about Finch, like having to write for a living was so far beneath him. It does not speak well of our prospects as a functioning family once he realizes that my family comes from trade. What was the trade to? I'm trying to remember. I feel like we made something. Yeah, Manchester or industry. We have an industry in Manchester. So something like that. I'm gonna find it. I feel like this is important. Okay. Your father, whose industriousness in textiles has afforded you this life, remains in Manchester overseeing the mills. Okay, so we're like in the textile industry in Manchester. which we're hiding from Ashworth. I think, like, eventually we'll have to tell him, but I think we're just not being obvious about it early on, you know? Okay, what else? What else was I thinking? Oh, I think he talks too much about his horse. But the compliment was sweet. Wealthy people don't mean to be ignorant of the working class. Perhaps that's true. That doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to be annoyed with it. I feel like your mom's plan deserves another look. I'm not sure how up for feedback Mrs. Blackwood is from her daughter, but we can try a second time. Let's see. I think I'll go along with it for now, but I am sort of still bored and I'm sort of put off by his comment. Yes, let's. And then I pick up the pace slightly just to give myself anything even remotely exciting to focus on. Do you think it would work out with him? I think there's a world where, like, I am still involved in the trade and he's kind of doing his own thing on the estate, and we're both kind of fine with that, you know? It's not the most romantic outcome, but it would solve the issue of legitimizing my family with, like, a, you know, proper old name. I feel like that's, you know, that's not the worst thing that can happen to a person who gives, you know, nice compliments every so often. You squeeze your heel against Duchess's flank. The mare lets out a sound that is half groan, half sigh, a protest against the indignity of exertion, before heaving herself into a heavy, bone-jarring trot. It is not the windswept gallop of your memories in the north. It is more like riding a very comfortable sofa that has decided to bounce down a staircase. Lord Ashworth laughs, a rich, booming sound. He barely shifts his weight, easing Persephone into a fluid, restrained canter that makes your own mount's efforts look even more lumbering. I say, the spirit emerges, he calls out, leaning over to pat his mare's neck as you move away from the crowds and towards the glittering stretch of the Serpentine. Is it Serpentine or Serpentine? Who knows? No one will know. No. Duchess looks positively shocked to be asked to work for her oats. Careful now, Miss Blackwood. We don't want her to faint from the excitement. He is teasing, his eyes crinkled with amusement. As you reach the path alongside the water, he slows Persephone to a walk, and Duchess gratefully collapses back into her preferred sluggish plod. The noise of the crowd has faded here, replaced by the cry of waterfowl and the soft thud of hooves on packed earth. Ashworth takes a deep breath of the cooler air coming off the water. This is better, much better than the crush back there. You know, he says, his tone shifting to something more confidential. Seeing you ride, even on Duchess, it confirms what I thought. He turns in his saddle to face you more fully. I wrote to my mother this morning. Told her to expect us, I said. Mother, Miss Blackwood isn't one of these fainting violets or fast-talking wits. She's a girl who appreciates the solid things, the real things. He nods, seemingly very satisfied with his own assessment. My mother can be a bit formidable, a stickler for the old ways, doesn't hold with much of the new money flooding the town. Yikes! Or the new fashion, but I told her you were different. Oh, did he? He smiles at you, confident that he has paid you the highest possible compliment by separating you from your own background. She will be eager to see if my description holds true, he adds. She usually claims my judgment is too optimistic. Let's see. It would work out, but you would have to give up your independence. There are other fish in the sea. There are many other fish in the sea. I feel like my mother, I feel like Mrs. Blackwood just kind of latches on to people and decides that that's the person and that's what we're going to go for. I'm gonna ask for a clarification. Are we not chaperoned? Yeah. Has my mother allowed me to the park with him without being in her sight the whole time. I feel like if that's true, then she is like definitely pushing for a marriage proposal soon. In a public place like Hyde Park, strict chaperonage rules are slightly relaxed because the public nature of the setting is the chaperone. However, a young unmarried lady would typically have a groom following a discreet distance behind, or her mother would be watching from a carriage parked nearby. Okay, it looks like Lord Ashworth does have a groom behind us, and my mother is in the carriage. Okay, so we're not actually alone. Okay. His words hang in the air, weighted with implication. He has not only written to his mother, a significant escalation. That's true. That's true. He told his mom about me, but he has framed you as an exception to your own class. He has pitched you as different from the new money flooding the town, oblivious to the fact that you are the new money. He is praising you by insulting your origins, believing he is doing you a favor. Behind you, the soft clopping of hooves reminds you that the groom is still trailing at a respectful distance, ensuring propriety is maintained. Yeah, his mom's gonna be an uphill battle. And this is what I told my mom. I'm like, you can't just hide something that big, right? Like, when are you gonna tell them? When they see the dowry papers and then they notice, like, that there are a bunch of funds, but there's no estate? Like, at some point, it comes out, right? So why not just find someone who's okay with it in the first place? That's why I was saying earlier we should have gone for a second son. See, second sons, they don't have estates because they're not like inheriting, so like they would be fine finding like a sugar mama, you know, or like finding a family that has funds that like is not necessarily the traditional way that is new money. How do I react? I think I'm a bit shocked to hear it come out of his mouth that way. Like, him just saying new money in kind of like a, you know, in like that tone. So let me start with that. I freeze as he mentions new money in a tone that I do not appreciate at all. Mother-in-laws who are controlling of their sons will be difficult to deal with. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, even if he's kind of chill. If she's not, yeah, maybe that's not gonna be a very good time. Laugh again. I try for a laugh again. Though the tenor feels different. Oh my lord. What should we say? He said, my mother can be a bit formidable. Doesn't hold with much of the new money flooding or the new fashions. Oh my lord. You speak of me so highly. I could say that. I do, and I do feel kind of like things are moving too fast. You know, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. You've written to your mother. That is quite an escalation. You know, you gotta be a little bit roundabout. Yeah, my delicate sensibilities and my slow horse. He's gonna spook my slow horse. I try to look delicate. Like I try to look like I have delicate sensibilities. I did not spell sensibilities correctly. That's true. But if I faint, then he will catch me, and then that will be kind of romantic, and maybe that's not something that we want. I am starting to feel like you know, we've made our way to this corner that's a little bit private. I'm feeling like we need to get back to the public part of the park. Ashworth misinterprets your hesitation entirely. He sees the flush in your cheeks and the falter in your voice, not as suppressed indignation, but as the charming modesty of a young woman overwhelmed by his attentions. Come now, he says, his voice dropping to a soothing, reassuring register. He guides his horse a step closer, casting a shadow over you. I did not mean to startle you. Call it preparation, rather than escalation. Be yourself, don't be disingenuous. But the thing is, if I was myself, then I would just say, we are from trade. And if you don't want to marry into that, then maybe we should look elsewhere. But if I do that, my mother might implode. And I'm also trying to avoid that. You see, there's kind of a balance here. You aren't really rewarded in Regency London for being yourself, for the most part. He looks out over the water, his expression turning slightly more serious, though no less oblivious. You must understand, my mother. She's of the old school. When she hears a name like Blackwood... Oh wait, he knows that we're associated with... Wait. Okay. When she hears a name like Blackwood, associated with Manchester, with industry, she imagines noise, the sort of people who talk loudly about prices at the dinner table. He turns back to you, his blue eyes warm and sincere, believing he is offering you the highest form of gallantry. I simply wish to assure her that she's wrong. Okay, so he does know the source of our dowry? That despite the unfortunate source of your dowry, you are entirely refined. That you ride, you speak. This is the man who described air as airy. He's just given me the compliment that I speak. And carry yourself as if you had been born at court. I told her you are a diamond that has risen above the coal. He smiled, expecting you to be relieved by his defense of your character. She will see it for herself when you come to Hampshire, he adds confidently. But it never hurts to smooth the path, eh? Okay, so many things. He waits for your agreement. Okay, so he knew? So I guess that's maybe a point in his favor that he did know, but he's been talking to me this whole time. But also, he's been judging me this whole time, trying to see if I would act above my station. And then when he found that I did, he's like, okay, now you've met the bar. This is more than just like a simple guy. This has got me feeling a little bit icky, honestly. The unfortunate source of your dowry? Like, the source of my dowry is my father. Would you like to say something else about my father? And you speak as if you had been born at court? Like, maybe he's scamming you at his mother's direction. Maybe they are poor. Yeah, maybe they have lost their money. That happens to people with old names sometimes. Maybe they're desperate. This is so much information. Okay, what's the reaction? I feel like I'm in shock for a second. You know the source of my family's... What's a nice way to say money? Of my family's... What's the word? I'm gonna put support and then I'm probably gonna replace that with something else. The indignation grows. My lord, the source of my dowry is my father, and I would hate to know that you thought him unfortunate. And I have yet to meet a single person who has risen above the use of coal. If he is poor and knows you are not wealthy, why is he pursuing you? No, we are wealthy. So that's the thing. We are wealthy, but we're wealthy through trade, so we're new money. So what I'm looking for is a marriage to someone who has a name that's like established. So this man is Lord Ashworth. That means, Lord means that I think he's in Parliament or something, or he's like related to politics. He's been given this land by the government, you know. His family has likely had it for a long time. They make their money through like owning the land and having tenants on it. And that's sort of considered like the old money, the traditional way to have funds, the way that's like aligned with the crown and all of that. And new money, you know, it's like slowly there are some people who have reached to have the amount of funds that these old money folks have, but they're not respected in the same way, which is why I'm trying to marry into one of these like established names. Yes, I can also be a lady if he a lord. Although I'm sort of popping off on him now, so maybe I'm not going to be a lady. He literally said, the unfortunate source of your dowry. Like, that's my family. You can't say that to me. You can't say that to someone. Let's see. Is this too much? I said I was gonna replace the word support. I'm gonna say funds. I know it's a little bit gauche to say the word funds, but I can't think of a better word. Okay. Let's see what he thinks. Lord Ashworth blinks, the warm, confident smile on his face faltering for the first time. He pulls his horse up slightly, mirroring your own stillness. He looks genuinely confused, like a child who has offered a gift only to have it handed back. Well, of course I know, he stammers, the easy charm replaced by a flustered awkwardness. Everyone knows. It is hardly a secret, Miss Blackwood. But he stops processing your second sentence, the mention of your father, the defense of Cole, the sharpness in your tone which has cut through his comfortable assumption that you were ashamed of your own history. I did not mean, he clears his throat, shifting in the saddle. That is to say, dash it all, I meant no offense to your father. A man must make his way, I suppose. I only meant... He struggles, his limited vocabulary failing him in the face of this unexpected nuance. I only meant that you do not carry the smudge of it. The smudge? The smudge? He trails off, looking at you with a mixture of apology and bewilderment. He genuinely cannot understand why you would defend the very thing he thought he was graciously overlooking. He glances around as if checking to see if anyone else heard this breach of etiquette. I intended it as a compliment, he says finally, his voice quieter, almost petulant, that you are fit for better circles than where you began. Surely that is what you want, what your mother wants? You're not like other girls. He looks at you, waiting for the reassurance that he hasn't ruined the morning. The groom behind you coughs politely, a sound that seems very loud in the sudden silence. Okay. Smudge. I'm over this man. I'm sorry. I was giving him a chance for my mother. I was giving him a chance to have more depth, which he did show, and he did give me a compliment, but I don't carry the smudge of industry. Like, no. I do not carry the smudge. And pray tell. I was gonna say something like, who does? I think it would help me later if we remain sort of on good terms, but I'm feeling like Mary's a little bit prideful, you know? It's like, even when she came in the beginning, though she was willing to marry for this name, I think she wasn't like super happy about it. She just felt like it was part of her duty. And she wanted to be honest. And it seems like everyone literally already knows, so I don't know why her mom was so adamant about not talking about it or not bringing it up. Okay. I feel like I don't have a fully thought out answer. I'm just sort of reeling at the word smudge. And there was another one. I do not carry the smudge. Better circles. My mouth is open. I don't even have a response for him. Also, okay, let's be real. If he is actually poor, like if his family has lost their money, even though they have this old name, he called my family a smudge. Like, that is not the way that you catch someone. So I'm not taking full responsibility for this devolving. That was on him as well, for not playing the game well. The silence stretches between you, broken only by the lap of water against the bank and the jingle of Persephone's bit as she tosses her head, sensing the sudden tension in her rider's hands. Lord Ashworth shifts in his saddle, his leather boots creaking. He looks at your open mouth and wide eyes, and a flash of genuine panic crosses his face. He is a man who flees from scenes as if they were burning buildings, and he clearly fears he has just lit a match. I say, he mutters, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper, don't look at me as if I've kicked a puppy, Miss Blackwood. He's getting mad at me for reacting to his words. People will talk. He forces a stiff, tight smile for the benefit of a passing carriage, tipping his hat mechanically to the occupants before turning his anxious gaze back to you. I'm not a poet, he says, his tone defensive now, retreating into the safety of his own limitations. I bungle the words, I know I do, but you must be practical. The Ton is a fortress, and I'm offering to lower the drawbridge. Does it matter if I think the mortar used to build your side of the river is a bit dusty? Literally called me dusty. He leans in, his blue eyes searching yours, pleading with you to stop being difficult and return to the smiling, agreeable girl from the drawing room. You fit, he insists, as if that solves everything. You fit with me. You fit with the house. That is what matters, isn't it? That we look well together? He straightens up, gathering his reins. Come now, let us not spoil a capital ride with heavy talk. It gives one a headache. Say you forgive my clumsy tongue, and we shall trot back. My mother need never know we discussed the particulars. He waits, offering you a path back to comfort, provided you are willing to swallow the insult. He still does not quite understand he delivered. You are not furniture. I am not furniture. I am not furniture. Fit with the house. I'm over this man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My mother's gonna kill me, but I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not a poet either, my lord. So forgive me if I also bungle my words. I would like to go home. I know I fit there. I would like to go home. To my home. Paid by my father's industry. Okay. Yeah, I can't do this. I can't do this. When he was just kind of simple, I maybe could have done it, but I can't have him saying stuff about that, like that, about my dad. Lord Ashworth stares at you, his blue eyes widening, not with understanding, but with the sheer shock of a man who has tried to pet a kitten and has been bitten by a viper. The color drains slightly from his cheeks, leaving 2 blotches of red high on his cheekbones, a sign of injured pride. He opens his mouth as if to argue, to explain again that he was helping you, but something in your expression stops him. He snaps his mouth shut, his jaw tightening. The easy, loose-limbed charm evaporates instantly, replaced by the stiff, icy armor of his class. As you wish, he says, his voice clipped and devoid of warmth. It is the tone one uses with a servant who has been impertinent. I shall escort you back to Mrs. Blackwood immediately. He jerks his reins sharper than necessary, turning Persephone away from the water. The mare protests with a toss of her head, sensing his irritation, but he controls her with a grim determination. He does not offer to guide Duchess. He simply assumes you will follow. He signals the groom with a curt nod, and the three of you begin the ride back toward the Stanhope Gate. The silence that descends is not the companionable quiet of the morning. It is heavy and suffocating. Ashworth stares strictly ahead between his horse's ears, refusing to look at you. You have defended your father, but in doing so, you have shattered the fragile flower illusion he was so fond of. As you near the gate, the crowds of Rotten Row come back into view. The performance must resume, at least for the onlookers. Ashworth forces his shoulders to relax, though his face remains a mask of polite indifference. I think I'm gonna end the scene here. Go for it, Duke. Thank you. Thank you. Although, again, my mother keeps choosing these landed men, and I'm like, Mom, if you just want someone who's gonna go with the flow, find a second son. Better yet, find like a fifth son or something, you know. They have no chance of getting anything from their family. Like, they already can't live into that, like, estate life. So I feel like they are much more willing to, you know, sell their last name for a life where they don't have to work, you know. Well, thank you. I mean, a first son is not, like, inherently better than the others, like, as far as personality goes. All right, I think I'm gonna end this scene here. Let's see, the drawing room. Oh, here's my mother. You did what? The question is not shouted. Oh, clergy. I could go for clergy. Although some clergy are also kind of touchy about industry. Military would be fine, but I don't know if my mother would allow for military, because we're still looking for that last name, you know, to like get into the parties or whatever. The question is not shouted. It is whispered with a terrifying, sibilant intensity that is far worse than a scream. Your mother stands in the center of the drawing room, still wearing her bonnet, her gloves stripped off and thrown onto the side table like gauntlets. You had returned early. The farewell at the carriage door had been a masterpiece of frosty etiquette, Ashworth bowing with mechanical precision, you curtsying with trembling knees, neither of you meeting the other's eyes. Your mother had seen it instantly. The ride home in the carriage was a silent, suffocating ordeal. Are y'all able to hear this music? Let me know. I can't hear it through my earbuds that much. Okay, the carriage ride home. Okay. And now, in the privacy of your home, the storm has broken. He offered you a compliment, she says, pacing a tight circle on the rug. A clumsy one, yes. A foolish one, perhaps. But a compliment nonetheless. He offered to separate you from the very thing that makes you unacceptable to his mother, and you threw it back in his face. She stops and turns on you, her eyes blazing. Because of pride? Because he called your father's money unfortunate? Mary, it is unfortunate to them. That is the reality of the world we are trying to conquer. She presses a hand to her forehead as if warding off a migraine. Do you think I enjoy hearing them whisper? Do you think your father enjoys being looked down upon by men who have never done a day's work in their lives? We bear it so that you do not have to. And when a man offers to lift you out of it, to make you Lady Ashworth, to give you a shield against every sneer, you lecture him on the virtues of coal? She drops her hand and looks at you, her expression a mixture of disbelief and profound disappointment. Mr. Finch was there. Oh, he was there. I saw you return early. He saw Ashworth's face. By tomorrow morning, everyone will know that the courtship has hit a rock. And do you know what they will say? They will not say you were noble. They will say you were vulgar. They will say the merchant's daughter could not help but show her true colors. She sinks onto the sofa, looking suddenly tired. What have you done, Mary? And how do you propose we fix it? I don't mean to make her angry. I just couldn't stand what this guy was saying. I don't mean to make you angry, Mama. I could not take what he was saying, or implying about father, about you, about everything we've worked so hard for. Good things. I know this is the world we live in, and it is not ideal. But surely we can find someone who will not believe they are saving me from the gutter. Yes, I want someone who will take her and my papa with them. And like, I think I'm sort of involved in this industry, you know? I don't want to give it up entirely. I don't want to have to speak down about it whenever I go to parties, you know? Or pretend that it's not real. Like, I don't think it has to be someone who's thrilled about it, but I would love someone who doesn't, like, proactively insult it. That would be great. Mrs. Blackwood stares at you for a long, heavy moment. The fire in her eyes cools into something far more dangerous. Oh, a pitying, steely resolve. The gutter, she repeats, the word tasting bitter in her mouth. You think he sees us as the gutter? No, Mary, he sees us as the bank. And banks are necessary, but one does not invite them to tea. Well, we're trying to get invited to tea. She walks slowly toward you, her skirts rustling in the quiet room. She reaches out, not to comfort, but to tilt your chin up, forcing you to look her in the eye. You speak of finding someone else. Who? Who is this mythical nobleman who will look at our smokestacks and see beauty? Who will look at your father's rough hands and see nobility? She drops her hand, turning away to pace the floor again. There are two types of men who will court you, Mary. The first are the fortune hunters, men with gambling debts and rotting family trees who will take your money, spend it on their mistresses, and leave you to rot in a country house while they live in London. They will not respect you. They will use you. She's not wrong there. She holds up a finger. The second are men like Lord Ashworth, men who are dull, yes, men who are proud, yes, but men who have a position so secure that if they choose to make you their wife, you become secure. He does not need to respect the source of the money to respect the comfort it brings him. He offered you a bargain, his name for your fortune. It is an honest trade. She stops at the window, staring out at the square where the elite of London go about their day. You want a love match with a man who admires industry? Go back to Manchester. Marry a foreman. You will be very happy and you will be nobody. But if you want to stay in this square, if you want to be someone, you must learn to swallow your pride. It is a very small price to pay for a life of consequence. She turns back to you, her voice dropping to a whisper. We do not have time to find this perfect imaginary suitor. The season is short. Mr. Finch is sharpening his quill. You have wounded Lord Ashworth's pride, and a wounded man talks. We must damage control before the sun sets. She walks to the bell pull and yanks it sharply. I am sending a note to Lady Trowbridge. We must be seen. Are you agreeing with my mother, Sam? Stab me in the back, girl. We must be seen at her card party tonight, and you, she looks you up and down, will wear the blue silk, and you will be charming. And if Lord Ashworth is there, you will not apologize, that admits fault. But you will be wistful. You will let him think you were overwhelmed, not angry. Do you understand? The footman enters before you can answer, waiting for orders. I mean, I think I have to go to this party. She's compelling, but she does not know everything. I think I hear what she's saying. I am a practical person. Like, I understand strategy. I just don't like being insulted to my face for stuff that I think is not wrong and is good. I feel like that's not unreasonable. I hold a large breath before letting it out slowly. I'm a reasonable person, Mama. I know what we are doing here. I know that the world is not ideal. I will go to the card party. I know I would always feel less than, and that would suck. I mean, it's Regency London, and I'm a woman, so, you know. Like, there was only so much value that I was going to feel generally, but I feel like it's the difference between like something uncomfortable that you're able to swallow and something that pokes at like your core, you know. I feel like this guy was sort of poking at the core of things that Mary finds important, and that's like harder to reconcile. I will go to the card party, but I'm still kind of angry I want to. I know, she doesn't. I feel like they really have like a loving relationship, and she is not giving me any empathy for wanting something similar. And I will attempt to not be too proud of the impossible greatness that you and Father have accomplished. I feel like I need to get something a little bit sharpened to her, because I'm complying. I say sharply. All right, let's go to this card party. Hopefully he's not there, so I don't have to deal with that. Okay. Your mother ignores the sharpness of your tone, choosing instead to bank the concession like a deposited check. To her, your pride is a luxury that you can ill afford, but your obedience is the currency she requires. She dips her quill into the inkwell, the scratch of the nib against the paper loud in the sudden quiet. Pride is a fine thing, Mary, she says. Oh yeah, did you see that? Not looking up as she writes the note to Lady Trowbridge, but it keeps no one warm in the winter. Remember that. She stands... We can keep ourselves warm in the winter. Gosh, he's the one who didn't want coal. She sands the paper, folds it with a crisp crease, and hands it to the waiting footman. Deliver this to Trowbridge House immediately. And tell Madame Dubois that she is to attend Miss Blackwood at 6. The blue silk will need pressing. Madame Dubois? Isn't she a seamstress? The footman bows low and retreats, taking the air of the room with him. Your mother stands, smoothing her skirts. She looks at you one last time, not with anger, but with the cool, appraising gaze of a general, inspecting a soldier who has stumbled but not yet deserted. Rest now, she commands. You will need your strength. Tonight is not a party, it is a campaign, and you have ground to recover. She sweeps out of the room, leaving you standing alone in the center of the impeccably furnished drawing room, a monument to the industry you defended, which now feels less like a home and more like a staging ground for the battle to come. Card room. Okay, first off, I wanted to talk about this. I did code something to where the game senses when it's become nighttime and it changes the picture. And I'm glad it worked because it was not working earlier. Let's move on. The heat in Lady Trowbridge House, in Lady Trowbridge's card room, is stifling. A heavy mix of beeswax candles, expensive perfume, and the sharp metallic scent of gossip. The room is crowded, the tables packed with the cream of the ton engaged in whist and piquet? Uneducated person over here. I'm gonna say piquet. But the noise level is a low buzzing hum rather than a roar. It is the sound of secrets being traded. You stand just inside the archway, the blue silk gown your mother insisted upon rustling softly around you. It is a beautiful dress, the color of a summer day, designed to make you look innocent and ethereal, a stark contrast to the angry merchant's daughter narrative your mother fears. You know what? I'm gonna try, since the other thing worked so well, I'm gonna try this painting commission. We'll see. What it's supposed to do is create images of everyone in the scene, and then create an image of the location of the scene, and then put everyone in the location, including the image of me, which you saw earlier, of that like white girl. We'll see if it works. Mrs. Blackwood stands beside you, her fan moving in a slow rhythmic beat. She is scanning the room with the precision of a surveyor mapping a battlefield. Head high, she murmurs, her lips barely moving. Do not look for him, let him look for you. But it is impossible not to see him. Lord Ashworth is seated at a table near the fireplace, his back half turned to the door. He is playing cards with two older gentlemen, to your dismay, Lady Ashworth. And to your dismay, Lady Ashworth. His mother has evidently arrived in town earlier than expected, or perhaps she never left. She sits with a posture so rigid it looks painful, her gray eyes sweeping the room with terrifying judgment. Lord Ashworth looks sullen, staring at his cards with a brooding intensity that suggests he is still nursing the wound to his pride. To make matters worse, Mr. Hector Finch is circulating. Ooh, he is not playing. He never plays. He drifts between tables like a shark in a reef, stopping to whisper a word here, share a joke there. He catches your eye across the room and raises a glass of punch in a silent, mocking toast. He knows. The entire room seems to vibrate with the knowledge that the golden couple had a spat in the park. Lady Trowbridge, a woman upholstered in purple velvet and diamonds, bears down upon you. She holds a deck of cards in one hand and a fan in the other, her expression one of predatory delight. Mrs. Blackwood, and the charming Miss Blackwood, she trills, her voice carrying easily over the murmur of the room. We were just discussing the hazards of the park this time of year. She is coming for me. So many unpredictable beasts, are there not? She smiles, her eyes darting toward Lord Ashworth and back to you. The trap is laid. Beasts? I feel like she's trying to get me to say something untoward about him, but I'm not gonna fall for it. It looks like our picture is done though. Let's see. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, so here is the card room. There are a lot of tables. And then as a reminder, here is me. And it looks like here's the room. I think this is supposed to be me. This chick on the left, although it doesn't really look like my original painting that much. Yeah, the hair is super different, but I'm supposed to be wearing blue, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm wearing the right dress at least. So that sort of worked. Okay, what am I gonna say? I will not fall for her trap. My lady, a pleasure. What should I say? Something like... I'll just pretend that nothing happened. I'll say, hazardous, is it? I was there just this morning and had a lovely time. Though some of the horses were dashing a bit fast. I'm just gonna pretend like nothing's wrong. Looks like there's maybe some twins at this party. That's cool. Lady Trowbridge's painted eyebrows arch high, her smile sharpening at the edges. She hears the deflection for exactly what it is, a polite lie, and she delights in the audacity of it. Fast horses, she echoes, snapping her fan shut with a sharp clack. How exhilarating. Sorry. One must have a steady hand to manage such unruly beasts. Though I heard rumors that some riders found the pace a trifle too spirited for their constitution this morning. She does not let the moment settle. With the instinct of a bloodhound scenting a fresh trail, she turns her head towards the fireplace, her voice pitching slightly louder to cut through the room's hum. Lady Ashworth, do look. Oh, Miss Blackwood has survived the perils of Rotten Row unscathed. She tells me she found the morning quite lovely. At the card table, heads turn. Lord Ashworth jerks slightly, nearly knocking his cards askew. He looks up, his face flushing a deep, unhappy crimson as he spots you. He looks like a schoolboy caught with unpolished shoes. Beside him, Lady Ashworth moves with the slow, terrifying deliberation of a battleship coming about. She places her cards face down on the base, and turns to face the archway. She's a woman of severe geometry, sharp nose, sharp chin, and the eyes the color of cold slate. She wears dark gray silk, high at the neck, and a turban adorned with a single unostentatious osprey feather. She inspects you not as a person, but as a specimen that has been brought to her attention by a noisy servant. Miss Blackwood, she says. Her voice is low, dry, and carries effortlessly across the intervening space. It is not a greeting. It is an identification. She turns her gaze to her son. Julian tells me the ride was cut short. He feared the heat was too much for you. Is his name Julian? I guess I didn't know. Yeah, I guess I didn't know his name. Guess it's Julian. Lord Ashworth stares fixedly at the pattern on the rug, unable or unwilling to meet your eye. It was warm, he mumbles, a pitiful defense that pleases no one. Lady Ashworth turns back to you, her expression unreadable but distinctly chilly. It is rare to find a woman of the current generation with the stamina for a proper ride. I often tell Julian that the industrial air weakens the lungs. The room has gone quiet. The card games nearest you have paused. Mr. Finch, leaning against a pillar nearby, has stopped feigning interest in the potted fern and is watching openly. Yeah, she literally just insulted me to my face. Like, my mother, who is so telling me to let go of my pride, is she gonna take this? I feel like she's kind of a prideful woman. Let's see. I freeze and grip my mother's arm. I am taken aback by the very forward insult. Not to leaving her son, or not to, yeah, not for buffeting her son, which, though I don't regret it, is understandable. But again, for the source of our empire. Though my mother has told me to swallow my pride, I know that she has worked very hard along with my father to accomplish what they have. I look to her. Is she going to take this open insult? Yeah, Lady Ashworth is prideful, I think. I think she is insulted by the fact that, you know, I kind of rebuffed her son, but I think I meant to say rebuffed instead of buffeted, whatever. But she didn't say that, you know, she insulted the fact that we came from industry. Mrs. Blackwood's arm is solid as a rock between your fingers. She does not flinch at the insult, nor does she gasp. Instead, she stiffens her spine by perhaps a fraction of an inch, her fan pausing in its rhythm for a single heartbeat before resuming its slow hypnotic sweep. You are too kind to concern yourself with my daughter's health, Lady Ashworth, Mrs. Blackwood says. Her voice is smooth, pitched perfectly to be heard by the surrounding tables without sounding strident. It is the voice of a diplomat negotiating a treaty while a knife is held to her throat. However, I assure you, Mary's constitution is quite robust. We Northerners are raised to withstand far sterner climates than a sunny morning in Hyde Park. I suspect Julian, she pauses, letting the use of his first name hang in the air as a reminder of the intimacy they are seeking, was merely being overly chivalrous. He treats her with such delicate care. It is quite charming to witness. Okay, I thought she was gonna maybe let her pride get away with her, but no, she's just like bending at the knee, which is kind of annoying. Literally taking this insult to our family on the chin. She smiles at Lord Ashworth, a look that dares him to contradict her. Lord Ashworth looks miserable. He shifts in his seat, the gilt chair creaking under him. Yes, he mutters, staring at his cards, quite chivalrous. That was it. Lady Ashworth does not smile. She turns a card over on the table with a sharp snap, her grey eyes never leaving Mrs. Blackwood's face. Chivalry is a dying art, or so I am told, Lady Ashworth observes dryly. Though one must be careful not to coddle. Flowers grown in hothouses tend to wither when exposed to the actual elements. She turns her head slowly, her gaze landing on you like a physical weight. And you, Miss Blackwood, do you agree with your mother's assessment of your resilience? Or did you find the ride taxing? The room waits. Mr. Fitch's quill is poised. Lady Trowbridge is leaning forward, her eyes glittering. Lord Ashworth is practically vibrating with the hope that you will simply agree with the lie and save him. I don't feel like Mary can say anything nice, so I think she's just not going to say much. I think I say, just like, yes, my lady. I say, clipped and short. A strained smile on my face. Lips pressed, like I do not wish to speak further. And all I can think is, this is so hard. Let's see. My mother has it so easy with my father. Their fluidity, their companionship. Am I facing down a life where the terrain remains this rugged? Where my pride is always swallowed? Where I have to reject where I came from and take insults to the face or on the chin to get anywhere? I remember, I think she's thinking of Davies here. I remember the last easy conversation I had with someone who wasn't even my suitor yet, with Edward Davies, about art, about the art on the wall. Stupid, sure, but easy. Awkward, absolutely, but easy. That was his name, right? Edward Davies? Yes, my lady, you say, the words clipped and final. Lady Ashworth watches you for a second longer, her expression impassive, as if she is deciding whether to push the needle deeper. Then, with a nearly imperceptible nod, she seems to accept the surrender. A sensible answer, she says coolly. Brevity is an underappreciated virtue in a young woman these days. She turns back to the card table, dismissing you as effectively as if she had rung a bell for you to be removed. Your play, Lord Ashworth. The tension in the immediate vicinity breaks, dissipating into a scattering of murmurs and the resuming snap of cards. Lady Trowbridge, looking slightly disappointed that blood wasn't drawn more vividly, snaps her fan open again. Well, she chirps, her voice a little too bright, we cannot have our hothouse flower wilting standing up, can we? Come, Mrs. Blackwood, there is a table opening near the window. And Miss Blackwood, she glances around the room, her eyes landing on a figure near the punch bowl. Oh, look, Mr. Davies is here. He's here. Perhaps he can entertain you while your mother partners with me. He is always so obliging. Your mother gives you a sharp look, a mixture of warning and relief. You have survived the encounter with the dragon, but the night is far from over. Go, she murmurs to you, her voice low. Keep your head up. Do not let Finch see you frown. She moves off with Lady Trowbridge, leaving you standing at the edge of the room. Across the crowded space, near a large potted palm, stands Mr. Edmund Davies. It was Edmund, not Edward. Oops. He's holding a glass of lemonade and looking somewhat adrift, his kind, open face a stark contrast to the sharp-eyed predators around him. He spots you, and his face lights up with a genuine, unforced smile, the first one you have seen all evening that doesn't feel like a weapon. He takes a step towards you, but before he can reach you, a flash of pale yellow silk intercepts his path. Miss Isabella Ridley has appeared at his elbow, her hand resting lightly, possessively on his sleeve. She whispers something to him, laughing softly, and turns her beautiful, perfectly bred face toward you with a look of cool challenge. Mr. Davies hesitates, looking between you and Miss Ridley, clearly torn. I mean, I barely know this guy too. It's not like I'm gonna fight for him, but it does feel kind of sad to see, like, oh, maybe something could have happened, but then clearly, like, something else is happening with this chick. I sigh and smile. I do not intend to fight anyone. For anyone. Good evening, Mr. Davies. Miss Ridley. How do you fare? I think I'm just gonna be nice. Mr. Davies brightens immediately at your approach, ignoring the slight tightening of Miss Ridley's fingers on his sleeve. Miss Blackwood, he exclaims, executing a bow that is perhaps a fraction deeper than strict etiquette requires for a casual encounter. I am very well, thank you. And yourself? I heard you were riding this morning. He colors slightly, realizing too late that mentioning the ride, the subject of so much whispering, might be a faux pas. He rushes to cover it. That is to say, it is a fine day for any sort of outdoor pursuit. Miss Ridley does not curtsy. She merely inclines her head, a gesture so minimal it barely disturbs the curls framing her face. Her smile is fixed and sweet, the kind that does not reach her eyes. We fare quite well, thank you, Miss Blackwood, she says, her voice light and melodic. Mr. Davies was just telling me about a fascinating lecture on antiquities he attended. He has such a passion for the old world. She turns her gaze up to him, wide-eyed and admiring. It is so refreshing to meet a gentleman who values history over fleeting modern trends. Don't you agree, Miss Blackwood? Tradition is so grounding. Right, he sounds nice, but she's insulting me too. The barb is subtle, wrapped in silk, but it lands. She's staking her claim not just on Mr. Davies, but on the moral high ground of tradition, a realm where your industrial family has no foothold. Mr. Davies, oblivious to the subtext, simply nods enthusiastically. Oh, indeed. It was about the Roman ruins in Bath. Fascinating how they engineered the heating systems. The hypocausts, you know? Truly remarkable engineering. He looks at you, his eyes shining with genuine intellectual excitement. I dare say your father might find it interesting, Miss Blackwood. The mechanics of the movement of the heat. It is not unlike the principles of a modern boiler, in a way. Miss Ridley's smile falters for a fraction of a second. She's not intended to create a bridge between his interests and your family's business. I mean, I'm gonna take him up on it. Like a boiler, you say? But how did the ancients have such materials at their disposal? I'm genuinely curious. And after all the difficult interactions since the ball, I know he's trying to connect with me. Or I think maybe he's even just like being himself and then there is a connection. Perhaps. This one feels easier. Miss Ridley's hand slips from Mr. Davies' arm as he turns fully towards you, his face animated by the delight of a shared question. He forgets for a moment that he is in a ballroom surrounded by sharks. Clay, he says, nearly bouncing on his heels. Terracotta piping. Mostly, they created a hollow space beneath the floor, this suspensura, and circulated hot air from the furnace. Not metal boilers as we know them, of course, but the principles of heat transfer, identical. It's all about airflow and draft. He gestures with his lemonade glass, sloshing a little over the rim, but he doesn't notice. It is remarkable how much knowledge was lost, he continues, his voice warm and engaging. We think ourselves so advanced with our steam engines and our mills, but the Romans were heating public baths for thousands of people with nothing but wood fires and clever architecture. I suspect if a Roman engineer walked into one of your father's factories today, he would not be baffled. He would be critiquing the ventilation. He laughs, a genuine hearty sound that draws a few glances from nearby tables. It is a moment of pure connection, grounded in the very thing everyone else tells you to hide, the mechanics of industry. Miss Ridley stands frozen for a moment, her smile now stiff and brittle. She's been effectively sidelined by a conversation about plumbing. She clears her throat, a delicate, sharp sound meant to cut through the enthusiasm. Well, she says, her voice a little higher than before, it sounds very dusty and hot. I suppose I prefer the finished product, the marble and the statues, rather than the pipes underneath. She looks at Mr. Davies, waiting for him to agree, to remember that polite conversation should be about aesthetics, not mechanics. Mr. Davies blinks, pulled back from his reverie. He looks at Miss Ridley, then back at you, sensing the sudden shift in temperature. Yes, of course, he says, a little sheepishly. The statues are very fine. But the mind behind the pipes, Miss Ridley, surely there is an art in that too. He leaves the question hanging, glancing at you with a shy, hopeful look, as if asking for validation that he hasn't just bored two ladies to tears. I mean, I agree with him. I think it's interesting. Like, I personally didn't know this stuff, that they boiled giant... I knew they had bathhouses, so I guess... But I guess I assumed they were, like, hot springs or something. But the mind behind the pipes, surely there is an art in that too. What might I say? I would agree, Mr. Davies. When did you say you attended this lecture? Was there any accompanying literature? I'm like flirting a little bit, but I also am interested in this subject. Just yesterday at the Royal Institution, Mr. Davies replies eagerly. Right? I agree, this guy is so much more interesting. Seemingly relieved that his enthusiasm hasn't frightened you off. And yes, there was a pamphlet. I believe I have it. He pats his coat pockets instinctively before realizing he is in an evening dress and likely did not bring a lecture pamphlet to a card party. He chuckles, a little self-deprecatingly. Ah well, not on my person, I'm afraid, but I could certainly send it to you. Or perhaps, he hesitates, glancing briefly at Miss Ridley, whose smile has become dangerously thin. Perhaps I could describe the diagram? The cross-sections of the hypocaust was particularly illuminating. Miss Ridley snaps her fan open with a decided flick. Oh, Edmund, she chides gently, reclaiming his arm with a soft, persistent touch. You mustn't bore Miss Blackwood with diagrams. Tonight is for cards and conversation, not construction. Ask him how he feels about his horse. I don't think I want to ruin it by asking how he feels about his horse. Because what if he really likes his horse also, and then my dream is crushed? You mustn't bore... Oh, let me see. Besides, she adds, her voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper, though clearly meant for your ears, I see Lord Ashworth is looking this way. I imagine he is eager to reclaim his partner. She nods towards the far side of the room. Indeed, Lord Ashworth has risen from the card table. He's not looking your way, however. He is heading for the refreshment table, looking rather flushed and in need of wine. But Miss Ridley's implication is clear. You belong to Ashworth, and she is reclaiming Davies. Mr. Davies looks torn. He glances at Ashworth and back at you with a look of mild confusion, as if trying to reconcile the gossip of your quarrel with the reality of your presence. Is he? Davy asks, quincing slightly. He looks thirsty. But Miss Ridley is right, I suppose. I should not monopolize you if you are otherwise engaged. He leaves the sentence open, offering you a chance to confirm or deny your attachment to the sullen lord across the room. My mother really wants me to make it work with Ashworth, but she first wanted me to make it work with Davies. So I feel like the fact that I'm talking to him and it's working out is not gonna upset her that much. I feel like it'll be fine. But also, everything that I do makes her angry, so who knows? I might just be doing something else that makes her angry too. I think I'm just eager to keep talking to him. I am not currently otherwise engaged, as I am in this conversation. I smile. It's kind of like a non-answer, right? It's kind of dancing around the question a little bit. Choose Davies. Well, we barely know Davies too. Maybe I should have asked him about his horse to see if he was also, you know, not too deep. Mr. Davies lets out a startled, delightful laugh, clapping his hands together once before remembering himself. A fair point, he exclaims, his eyes crinkling at the corners. And well made. I stand corrected, Miss Blackwood. Logic is a formidable weapon in your hands. He leans in slightly, lowering his voice from its previous enthusiastic volume to something warmer. In that case, I shall personally deliver the pamphlet to Blackwood House tomorrow. Ooh. If, that is, you think your mother would not object to a morning caller. There's a diagram of the airflow vents that I think you would find particularly... Oh, Edmund, really, Miss Ridley interrupts. Her voice is like sponge sugar, sweet, sticky, and cloying. She steps closer to him, effectively placing her shoulder between you and him, though she keeps her face turned toward you with a mask of perfect concern. You must not tax Miss Blackwood so, she chides him gently, then looks at you with wide, pitying eyes. We must remember what Lady Ashworth said not 10 minutes ago. If a simple morning ride in the park proved too strenuous for Miss Blackwood's constitution, surely a treatise on industrial ventilation would bring on a migraine. A megrim? I don't know what a megrim is. She tilts her head, her diamond earrings catching the candlelight. We must be considerate of her limitations, must we not? It would be cruel to exhaust her when she has already had such a difficult day. Mr. Davies blinks, looking from Miss Ridley back to you. The mention of your alleged limitation seems to deflate him slightly, not because he judges you for it, but because he is genuinely kind and fears he has been insensitive. Oh, he says, his face falling. Is that so? I had not realized the ride was so taxing. I'm a brute to rattle on. Perhaps you should sit down, Miss Blackwood. He looks around anxiously for a chair, completely buying into Miss Ridley's framing of you as an invalid who needs protection rather than conversation. I'm not standing for that. I'm quite well standing, Mr. Davies. And I enjoyed the conversation. Much more than I did the ride. Alright. Continue. If you have more to say on the subject, I would be happy to hear it. In preparation of your delivery tomorrow morning. He's gonna come call on me. Let's see what my mother thinks. I think we'll end the scene here. You think? I think we'll end the scene here. Oh. Something weird happened there. I might regenerate this last scene once it's done. Oops. Never mind, can't. That's okay. Or actually, no, I will. Sometimes the model will give, like, notes to itself at the beginning, and it's fine to ignore, but, then sometimes it will produce them again later if it's in the message chat. So that's why we have this mechanism to regenerate the scene or to edit the last thing that you put in. Miss Ridley's smile freezes, then cracks just enough to reveal the frustration beneath. You have not only rejected the invalid chair she tried to force you into. Also, I just said that word twice. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, but maybe it was like a word of the times. I'll do some of my own research and get back to you on that. But you have also firmly reopened the door she tried to slam shut. Mr. Davies looks relieved, his anxiety dissolving instantly. Truly, he beams. Well, that is capital. The next part concerns the Caldarium, the hottest room, and how they used hollow bricks in the walls to create a radiant heat, almost like a modern stove, but integrated into the very fabric of the building. He launches back into his explanation, his hands moving to illustrate the shapes of Roman bricks. Miss Ridley stands there, her fan tapping a sharp, irritated rhythm against her palm. She has lost this skirmish. She cannot drag him away without appearing rude, and she cannot join in without feigning interest in hollow bricks. She's forced to stand and listen, offering tight smiles whenever Mr. Davies glances her way. Across the room, you catch a glimpse of Lord Ashworth. He's watching you now, a glass of wine in his hand. His expression is unreadable, perhaps a mix of relief that you aren't making a scene and irritation that you seem to be enjoying yourself with someone else. Behind him, Mr. Finch makes a note in his little book, his eyes flicking between you, the animated Mr. Davies, and the simmering Miss Ridley. The air in the room feels thick, charged with the peculiar electricity of social maneuvering. You have won a small victory here, a moment of genuine connection in a seat of artifice, but the night is long and the eyes of the Ton are still watching. And that feels like a good place to leave off. We will pick up next time with Chapter 2, Scene 7, in the life of Mary Blackwood. Thanks for joining. Well, we'll see what happens as Mr. Davies calls on her the next morning with a pamphlet about Roman bathhouses, and perhaps what Mr. Finch writes in The Spectator, and whether Ashworth will finally leave her alone. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I'll see you next week. Bye.